for week 3 is still, this will be our final week focusing on breath and alignment, and the muscle focus is still abdominal. So for alignment today, we're going to be talking a lot. We haven't talked very much about alignment yet, but we're definitely going to be talking about the position of the pelvis and the position of knees and toes. So before I scooch back onto my mat, you guys can just sit there and get comfy. We're going to be talking about the position of the pelvis. And by that, I mean, let me tuck my shirt in so you can see that there are 2 things we're going to focus on. One is a very gentle belly lock. Lock is such a fierce word, yeah? But a gentle engaging of the abdomen to lift up and in, yeah? So we can let it all the way out, or we can lift it up and in. And if we're just gently and soft, so it's different than like, if we're gently and softly lifting in, we end up, studies show, with about 70% fewer back injuries. What? That's a lot, yeah? So soft lifting in, and then the other thing is that most of us tend to hang out. Let's hang out like we're standing around by the lockers at school, in high school, and we're too cool for school. Like what? We tend to dump our pelvis forward, let our booty stick out, and let our belly stick out, right? And one reason for that is that our hip flexors are tight from being in a sitting position all the time. So when we straighten our legs, it pulls our pelvis forward, and then we try and stand up on top of that. We end up with a really arched back. So I always call this an arched back, and I always call this a curved back. And when we're practicing yoga or just in daily life, what we want to be thinking about is to get that pelvis vertical. So I'm not talking about the position of your flesh of your buns. I'm talking about the position of the bones of your pelvis and the bones of your sacrum, yeah, which is this square of bone that's back here. So go ahead, sitting or standing wherever you are, give yourself a little massage. Just walk your fingers around, feel the bones in your hips. Yeah, pelvis bones, you can feel the hips in the front. They walk all the way over the edge of those pelvis bones, and they meet down here where your spine inserts into the pelvis, and there's a triangle of bone called the sacrum that connects to your tailbone. And what we want to do is, instead of thinking about just sticking it out like this all the time, we want to think about lengthening that tailbone down by lifting through the abdomen. And when we are tight in the front or not as strong as we'd like to be in the abdomen, it can feel like it takes a lot of work just to stand in neutral. And that's very normal. And that is why so many teachers say things like, tuck your tailbone underneath or curl underneath, even though it's a little bit inaccurate, because we don't really want you to go like this all the time. Yeah? There are a couple of positions where we get that curved underneath. But in general, we say, like, some people say tuck your tailbone, but we're really just trying to get you to work hard enough to get to neutral, which takes effort, yeah? So I try and say things like neutral spine or lengthen the lower back, because I want you to think about lengthening that tailbone down. But I did see in someone's comments, they were talking about how tucking the tailbone is not good for them, and that's true. We don't want to be, and there are some people, 90% of people end up like this in daily life, yes? Knees locked, belly dumping forward, tailbone flipped up. There are another 10% who do the opposite thing, and they sit back all the time. But it's less common, so that's why the terminology is often unclear for some people. Yes, so we're going for straight signs. That alignment is going to be important today. The other thing we're going to talk about is the alignment of your, I want you guys to be able to see my knee and foot, of your knee and your toe, yeah? So if you grab your kneecap, which is this round bone here on your knee, and slide your fingers down to the bottom of it, you can feel that there is a little rope, it's a tendon, that goes straight down underneath. This tendon, go ahead and give it a pinch. Say, hello tendon, let's be friends. We want that tendon to be lined up with your pointer finger toe, your second toe, yeah? Most of us tend to have the habit of slightly turning the toe farther than the knee. Some people have the opposite habit. There's a bunch of varieties that we can do down here in the ankle, But the big thing is that we want to be strong enough in the hip socket that when we put our foot down on the floor, we're not dropping the knee in past where the toe is, right? See, this is my toe and this is my knee tendon. We want to use the hip to line those two things up. And that healthy alignment of the knee is the thing that we want to get an awareness and a habit of, because that protects from most knee injuries are about this happening. Yeah? So knee alignment and pelvis alignment will be our two focuses of the day. And with that said, we're going to go through our yogic workout. I'm going to turn on the music. Hopefully you guys can all hear my voice over the music. That should be good. Oh, we don't need the cardio music though, do we guys? Let's do this. There we go. Okay, that's a much better vibe. So we're gonna sit down in our easy pose, which is crisscross applesauce, and just close our eyes for a little bit. Noreen, I see your question and I will get to it at the end of class. Sounds like something's fishy, so I'll take a look. Let's all just close our eyes and slow down your breath. Notice how your lungs are feeling. I myself have a little bit of asthma, not serious, but enough. So my lungs are very tired this week with all the smoke we've been breathing. So if you also are feeling tired in your lungs, let's really take this time today to expand them with our inhale and really soften them with our exhale. And send some compassion in there. If any of the deeper parts of your lungs feel sort of sticky or tired or full of gunk, let's let our deep breath sort of air them out, as it were. And you can move towards inhaling through your nose and exhaling towards your mouth. Giving yourself permission to make a little noise with that breath, or a lot of noise if you want. Open those eyes, let your arms float up with your next inhale. Exhale down the center. Big breath in. curve on down forward and slide it out. And just breathe here in your forward folded body over those bent legs. And close your eyes and feel how your hip sockets feel. And feel how your knees feel. Inhale, stack that spine back up to vertical. And exhale, reaching over to your side. Remember, hip and hand are on the same line, so we're not twisting. Nice and flat. And then I want you to reach through those fingers and also reach down through that left hip. So we're making the longest distance between the hand and the floor here. And now let's play with that alignment. Let's go ahead and open our chest up to the sky, dropping your arm behind yourself. And then we're just gonna wave that left arm around, letting your armpit and your pectoral muscle open. And if you want, you can rotate the palm towards the back wall, see if that changes the stretch. Just exploring. And we're gonna inhale up. Let that arm come in front of you. Let your torso twist towards your thigh, underneath, and look underneath your arm, twisting down, threading the needle. Whew, big breath. Soften your neck, soften your back, soften between your ribs. Soft. And inhale back up. Find that flatness. Then shift over to the other side, hand lined up with the hip. Find flatness. And take the arm back and the chest open skyward. And explore with your right arm, opening the hip and the armpit. Let your hip sockets release here. Try not to hold tension in them. I know that can be challenging, so if they feel a little stuck, give them a little wiggle or jiggle. And lift up and rotate your heart down and underneath, looking under your armpit. Inhale, come up center. And let's shrug our shoulders up, up, up. Squeeze those fists. Make tension in your arms. Squeeze up. Let it go. Again, lengthen it through the spine softly. And then squeeze your shoulders up. Squeeze fists. Make tension. Make heat. Drop just the arms and shoulders. One more time, just your shoulders. Squeeze up to your ears. Squeeze, squeeze, squeeze. Make them tight. Tight, 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 tight against your neck. Relax it, shake it out. We're going to swing those arms up and open them wide. I'm going to let my arms be a little in front of my body, and then I'm going to lift my heart up and forward. And then lean so that a big fluffy cloud can float down. I like to imagine a big fluffy cloud landing right on my chest. You guys have all now seen my fluffy white cat, who we also refer to as a fluffy cloud, so sometimes I imagine my giant white cat landing on my chest. His name is Mr. Milk. I'm just going to give him a big hug. Let your hands come down to your pelvis and open the chest even more. Go ahead and tuck your chin in, so you're making 16,912 chins. And then shift your back of your neck onto those shoulders and let your shoulders come up today. So you're supporting your neck with your shoulders, and we're just gonna roll our heads gently around so that your shoulder blades are massaging the tissue of your upper trapezius. The bone of your shoulder blade is massaging that neck tissue into your neck, yeah? So we're letting our shoulders be risen, and we're just softly moving around. Gently shake your head now and nod. Yes. Hollow out your belly. Draw your belly lock in. Lengthen through the back of your neck. Pull those shoulders down. Come back up into that arch. And spread the front of the rib cage, arching the back. And then if you like, you can lift your hips up if it feels good to you. The long back. Exhale, let it down. Inhale, rising up. Exhale, hug forward, grabbing both hands. Flip those wrists over and stretch your back backwards. Switch your feet. Rise up tall. Arms out to the diagonal. We're going to float forward with a flat back. So I'm shifting side to side. Softly panning forward, downwards like a slow motion falling autumn leaf. Let yourself draw your hand back and forth. Take it all the way over to your left side. Open up your chest. Again, letting the arm go back behind you. And look down to your left thigh. And then we're going to reach out and over that left thigh and lay our chest down across it diagonally. And the temptation here is going to be that your right hip should float up off the ground, but I want you to stay rooted in the right hip. So you're getting a big broad stretch across this lower right back. Big deep breath. Inhale, lift it up. Come back up center. We're going to take our arms straight up and we're going to curve that chest, drawing in your belly, reaching back. Come up to elongated spine and then lean out and forward from your hip sockets. Find a diagonal spot. Press both knees down into the earth to hold. Big breath in, lift your shoulders up to your ears. Exhale, anchored your shoulders down your back. Lifting your abdominal wall softly in, so we're supporting through that core. Feel the heat, press your legs into the earth. Long straight back, one more breath here. And exhale forward, release into the mat. Walking yourself to your right. Open up to the side. Open the chest. Open the arms. Looking at the hand. And then looking down to the earth. Both hips stay anchored to the mat. Left arm comes up and over and out across the right thigh. Your whole spine is going to lay down on that right thigh, and your left hip stays anchored back behind you. Big stretch in the left lower back here. Come on up. Palms down. We're going to walk our palms down and put your elbows on the mat. See if you can really squeeze those elbows close towards each other so that your elbows are under your shoulders. We're going to let our feet come sole to sole and let your knees open up. Gently take that belly, stick it out in the air. Ooh. And then pull that belly button in and pull your lower back towards the earth. So I'm trying to smush my hands with my belly. And then again, release the thighs. So it's hard to do both at the same time. I'm going to let my shoulders rise up to meet my neck and support my neck as I relax back. So hips. My abdominal wall is working, but I'm trying to relax through the hips. Hollowing out in the middle. Good. Bring your chin to your chest first, protecting the neck as we rise up, pressing the shoulders back. Now we're going to arch through the back, lifting the ribcage up. And slide your feet out into a straight line. This is the fish pose we're passing through. We're going to tuck our chin back to our chest and press up. Go ahead and shake out those legs. Taking your hands down by your pelvis. You can make spider hands or fists, or if you have regular length arms instead of short arms like I do. I love you, arms. Then you can put your palms all the way on the mat, which is the correct way to do this. But if you have short arms like me, then feel free to choose something else. We're going to tighten the whole body in this next one, so it'll be a tight squeeze and hold and release process. We're going to pull the belly lock in. We're going to curve our pelvis underneath so that your lower back tuck back here. This is an actual tuck position. We're going to anchor those shoulders down and we're going to straighten those knees. So almost locking the knees out, pulling your toes back and spreading your toes out. Yes? All those things at once. Here we go. Big breath in. Exhale. Belly lock, curve, flex the legs, flex the feet and press. Lift your hips off the ground. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. This is the tight, tight, tight. And release. Take it forward. Rotate. Big breath in. Shoulders down, ribs together, belly in, tuck it tight, press and squeeze. Press and squeeze, press and squeeze, press and squeeze. And release. Inhale, bring it up. Anchors down, ribs together, belly in, tuck the pelvis and press up. Lift your torso off the ground. Squeeze, 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 squeeze. And release. 3 big breaths in your forward fold. Remember, as with any forward fold, it's okay if your knees are bent here. If that's what it takes to help your pelvis fall forward into the stretch, as opposed to if you're super tight in the hamstrings and you feel like your forward fold is your chest trying to get over the hump, then bend your knees so that your butt can stick out behind you so you can stretch forward from here. Good, good. Let's roll it up. Here we go. Take a moment to just feel through those alignment cues we're going to refer to as we go into our sun salutation up next. Go ahead and grab those tendons below your kneecap. Make sure they're pointing straight up. Yes, so we're in parallel leg position when our tendons, our kneecaps are pointing straight up and our second toes are pointing straight up. And then I want you to close your eyes for a second and relax your legs. Don't even think about it. Open your eyes and see what happened. So my body always, this left leg goes whoop. I don't know why, but I bet you might have some special, unique way of standing yourself too. So let's come back to parallel. Yeah. Point your finger toes, kneecaps, and the points of your front hip bone are what we're lining up with here. So we're not lining up with the outside of our hips. Straight down from the hip sockets is the goal. And then let's all bend our knees so it's even easier to see this. And we're going to put our thumbs up on top of those kneecaps. We're going to pull our belly in and then we're going to roll back. So I'm curving the lower back now, curving that lower back. Lift up to upright, stick it out behind yourself. And this is that orientation of the pelvis, yes? So just think about that. Arching, it's like your cat-cow, but you're seated. Think about that for a moment. And then maybe look at what happens to your legs, because I don't know about you, but if I don't think about it, then that old leg habit comes into effect. So we want to think about being able to hold parallel legs while we shift the pelvis. And that might be that you think about reaching through your knees. You think about your knees radiating out. This is one way to think about alignment. Another way to think about it is a little bit of tension of your legs sort of hovering together like they're holding an imaginary, in Pilates I say personal size cheesecake, but what do we want in yoga? What's going to be our image today? I'm going to have to think about that. A good metaphor for you guys. All right, now I want you to relax those legs. Did you feel like your inner thighs were doing some work right there? Could be, yeah? And then I want you to know that there is also a turned out or externally rotated position, yeah? So if we come back here to parallel and we let that turn out happen exactly with our knees, there might be one knee that turns out more than the other. Certainly that's true for me. So I have to activate one leg to get it to get even, whereas this one just falls here. And the other thing that is common is that our knees will open a certain amount, but your feet often go further than your knees. So let's just play with that for a moment. I want you to just look at your own legs, open those legs out, relax them. See if you get a sense of what happens. It's easier for me for this leg to turn out. I have to concentrate about my other leg turning out. And it's easier for me about the other leg to stay parallel because the turned out leg is biased towards being open. So notice that about yourself. And we're going to bring that into today's alignment lesson in our sun salutation, where for the first time we're going to do warrior one instead of high lunge. So let's come to standing and I'll explain the difference. We've been doing high lunge, which is a parallel lunge. So before we go to our flow, let's just clarify the difference. Yes? Warrior one, your right leg's back, your left leg's forward, left leg and toe are aligned, just like we talked about. You're gonna be using your hip to hold that knee straight forward. And this back leg, if you put your thumbs up on the knee, the thumb would be pointing to the ground. So this is high lunge, and the difference between high lunge and warrior one is that this back thigh is externally rotated. Let's go ahead and bring it in a little bit. Let's bring it in all the way and just open that thigh. And point it forward. Put your hand under your butt. Open the thigh. Feel a little squeeze happen under your butt. Point it forward. And open that thigh. Yeah, just like we were doing on the floor. Then taking that open thigh, we're going to step it back. And we're going to keep the hips square, but put the heel on the ground. Now, yoga is a practice we do for our whole life, so it's not supposed to be easy the first time. Generally speaking, if you are normally this far apart in your parallel position, and we turn one leg out sideways and we step back, then the hips twist. So what we do to correct for that when we're starting out, or for our whole lives, is to step the back leg out a little bit further. If you guys, the camera right now is the floor, right? Stepping back to high lunge, externally rotating the back leg to 45 degrees, not all the way sideways. And then step it out a little bit so your hips can stay square to the front. Here we go. Right leg steps back. There's high lunge. If I put it down and my hips are opening by accident and I can't keep them square yet, I'm going to step that leg a little wider so that my hips can stay square. Yeah? And that will be my warrior one. So from the side, whole foot on the ground. You want to feel the whole foot on the ground. I'm going to use this under butt to rotate my thigh out. I'm reaching my thigh and knee out to 45 degrees and still wrapping the hip forward. So these two things are going opposite directions. That's the tricky part about the alignment here today. Hips closing in, thighs going out. Whoop, whoop, whoop. And then we find that long lower back. Yeah, find the long lower back. Everybody take a moment before we step out and have your own personal twerking session. Now, if you feel that tightness that happens when you're sticking it out, we want to be aware that when we feel that feeling again, that, uh-oh, my butt's sticking out, we're going to bring the work into the front of the body instead of letting the work happen in the back. All right, here we go. Big breath in. Everything else is the same, except we're going to go into warrior one. Big breath in. Exhale, center. Inhale. Exhale, open. How's your pelvis right now? Could you support a little more with the belly lock? Could you reach that tailbone down? Your chest is definitely arching up, but your back should not be arching back in this position. Inhale, rock. Exhale, forward fold. Soft knees are fine. Inhale up to your flat back. Hold there. Check that abdominal and pelvis section. Can we lift our bellies in and can we lengthen through a flat lower back? Feel it with your hands if you're not sure. Soften down. You're gonna take your right leg back. And drop those hips. Just enjoy that low lunge. So we're in parallel for your low lunge. We're in parallel for your low lunge. Look down at your foot. Are all 5 toes in the back on the floor? Is your front knee and toe pointed in the same direction? Let's inhale, flow the hips up. Exhale, sink them down. Inhale, float them up. And exhale, sink them down. Now we're going to change the back leg while your hands are on the floor, yeah? So we're going to rotate that back thigh. And notice how my back foot looks different. Can you see it on the floor there? From there, I'm gonna roll up. And when I came up, now my hips are pointing sideways by accident. Oh no! Let's do better. I'm gonna rotate my hips back square. It doesn't feel right to me, so I'm gonna move that back leg out a couple of inches and maybe even in a couple inches more so that I can get the front leg's hip to go back down square and find that long pelvis. Yeah? We don't wanna feel a torque in the back knee, so adjust until you don't feel a torque, but you can hold those things. It's way trickier than it seems, I know. So take your time, enjoy it, feel it out. How do I open my thigh using those under butt muscles? How do I engage my abdominal wall? Looks like I'm doing nothing. Feels like I'm working hard and thinking a lot. That's the idea. Go ahead and hold your arms up in the air. Sink into that high lunge in the front. Yeah. I noticed today my front knee wants to fall in, so I'm going to fire up the outside of that hip to hold it forward. Same direction as the toes. And I'm going to reach my back flat back forward. I'm going to come back up. Finding softness. Feeling the back leg. Big breath in. Let's sway through back. Let your arms go down, bring them back up, really feeling your hips work. And rest. Let your hands rain down. All the work in the pelvis. And let's sway the arms down to the floor, changing your back leg to parallel, and then we'll step back. Feeling that plank? It's okay to be in modified plank anytime we're in a plank. Let's check in with our arms. I went to hyperextended elbows just now. We can do better than that. Let's soften them. So we're holding ourselves with our muscles rather than bracing against the joints. Holding with your muscles, actively pressing into the earth. Elbows back. And knees down, because I really want to see healthy shoulders on the way down here. Pull those elbows back into your ribs. Let your heart come forward past your fingertips as you lower to the mat. And inhale, squeeze the shoulder blades together, the belly lock up, and let that lift you up into your petit cobra, little cobra. Exhale takes you back down to the mat. And rising back up to your downward dog. And let's experiment with this downward dog. Yeah, let's walk it. Letting your toes and feet be stretched out. Letting both heels come down just barely whispering against the floor. So there's no weight in your heels in a downward dog. If your arms are exhausted here, soften your knees a little bit and maybe walk your hands one space closer so that a little more of your weight can be in the balls of your feet. And then walk your hands even closer so even more of your weight's in the balls of your feet until your hands float up off the ground and find that teeter-totter point. Knees are bent and just teeter-tottering off the hands into the feet and then back into the arms. Pointer fingers forward and walk it back out. Keep those knees bent for me. Big breath in. Exhale. Drop your chest to your knees. Big deep breath. Feel your armpits opening up in your downward dog pose because your chest is falling towards your feet. If you don't feel that feeling, it probably means you're too far forward. Yeah? Because maybe you're trying to keep those legs straight because that's what it looks like on the internet. Heck, forget about that, guys. Bend your knees. Press your ribs to your thighs. Open that chest. All right, then we're going to lift your leg. Same leg we lifted before. Same leg we stepped back with. Holding that three-legged dog, sometimes called a two-legged dog. One-legged dog. How many legs? One leg on the floor, two arms. Exhale, tuck it in to your nose. Exhale, shift your weight back. Inhale, lift the leg. And now open those hips to the side. Pull your abdominal wall in. And close the hips to square. Bend the knee, take it through. Step forward to low lunge, high lunge, sorry. High lunge. High lunge because your knee in the back is off the floor, even though our hands are on the ground. Let's rock through that back foot by pressing through the foot back there. That's the same thing that will help you step together. Yeah? Before we go on, let's squeeze our thighs towards the center line. Rise up flat back in your high lunge. Draw your pelvis to square. You can soften the back leg if you need to. Reaching your front knee forward. All right, press through that back foot. Imagine your tailbone moving over to the top of your front toes. Push. Set it down. Good. Fold it forward. Inhale halfway to flat back. Check your abs. Check your flat back. Lengthen through the top back of your neck. Soften those knees. Drop your hips, soften back. And roll up and stack your spine up from the bottom to the top. When you get to your rib cage, pull those shoulder blades together to lengthen, open your chest, neck, head. Soften. Opening the heart, we're beginning the left side. Again, lifting up in your belly so your tailbone reaches down, your chest opens above that. Big breath in. Reach out flat back. Pass through to forward fold. Ripple back up to flat back. Lengthen. Reach your arms back so they're parallel with your spine. Lengthening the back of your neck, lengthening your lower back. Reach your tailbone so it's flat. Holding that position, letting your weight be in the balls of your feet. Soften your knees, melt down. Your left leg steps back to high lunge. You'll notice this is the lunge you were just in, yes? Shifting forward and back, checking alignment. Front knee and toe, pointer finger toe, straight forward. Yeah? back foot right now in your lunge. Let's drop those hips and open them up just a moment. And from here, I'm really thinking about trying to lift that knee up into space to open up that thigh. I'm gonna release that goal, let go of that goal, and I'm gonna look down underneath myself, and I'm going to change the back foot. I'm gonna rotate for you so you can see. Yeah, so I'm in high lunge. I'm gonna change my back leg. I'm gonna step it out and turn it out. So now my knee is pointed 45-degree angle. I'm gonna hold that position, squeezing myself up and rising to my warrior one. Now this feels too big for me. How do I know that? Because I'm falling open in the pelvis. So I'm gonna bring it in and fight instead for alignment. Square hips, thighs rotating. Find that spot. And now I'm going to tuck my tailbone underneath and rotate that back thigh out a little bit more if I can, so that my knee and toe are both in the same direction in that 45-degree angle. Hips and front leg are front. Let's reach out to flat back. Find my flat back, send my arms back. Big breath in. Relax, lengthen that lower back. Feel your hip sockets working. Here we go, out. Pressing evenly into both feet. Inhale, rising. One more time. Good. And down to the floor. Find your plank or modified plank. Both are super good for you. Don't be judgy about modified plank. Modified plank, everybody. Elbows back, heart forward. Flat back as you slowly come to the earth. Elbows in, elbows in. Let it all go. Then gather up your core. Press up to your baby cobra. Shoulders down and back, long back of the neck, lifted through that core. Exhale, take it down. We're going to press back to child's pose. Flip those wrists over. Big deep breaths, let it be delicious. Alright, so you're going to walk your hands out a couple of inches and rise up to your downward dog. Finding square and letting your left leg rise up. Lifting through the abdominal wall, radiating through that leg, pressing the floor away. Finding your breath. And then open your hips. Open your hips. Shoulders square. And square those hips. Square those hips. Knee comes down. Curving your back as the knee comes to your nose. Exhaling, straightening your back out, coming square again. Inhaling, lifting that leg. Slow motion pendulum today, really thinking about the position of your pelvis as you move. Tucking it in and forward. Square pelvis. Resting back. Inhale, arch square pelvis. One more. Tuck it forward. Shift your weight forward, step through to high lunge. And drop those hips. Let them be juicy. Experiment through the back foot. Squeezing your thighs towards center to rise up. Tailbones underneath your shoulders. Think about your tailbone moving forward. So don't try and lean forward with your head. You're going to push off that back foot and bring your tailbone right over that foot. Tailbone. Good. Big breath in. Exhale, take it on down. Drop your head, neck, shoulders. Inhale, halfway up, head flat back. Exhale, take your buns back. Roll up to start. Big breath. Good job, everybody. That was very thoughtful sun salutation. Now we're going to move through it without stopping. Inhale up. Exhale. Inhale, rise up. Right forward fold. As you exhale, rise up. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, right leg steps back to warrior one right away. Rise on up, friends. Exhale, flat back, sweep through. Inhale, I call this double rainbow because I like to imagine that I'm finger painting 2 double rainbows with my hands. Finger paint those big double rainbows. One more time, friends. Step it back to your plank. Lower down, friends. Inhale, rise up to your cobra or upward dog. Exhale down. Up, back to your downward dog. 3 breaths. Opening that chest. And right leg rises. Open up the hips. Bend that leg. Imagine that you could poke yourself in the head with that foot. Extend, straighten, swing. Curving forward, exhale. Lift it up. Exhale. Inhale, tuck. Exhale. Lift it back. Exhale. And tuck, step through, high lunge. Rising up. Exhale, drop your hands. Hold hands behind yourself. Open up that chest. You're just in high lunge. My back is way arched, so I'm gonna lift it. Square hips as you go, flat back. Lift those hands up high, drop your head. Hands to your hips and step right through. You can touch the floor if you want. Rise up. Forward fold into your halfway up. Exhale down. Roll up, right step the whole side on your left. Flat back. Step back left. Turn it out. High lunge. I'm sorry, not high lunge, warrior one. Double rainbow arms. To your plank or modified plank. Down to the earth. Inhale. Exhale. To the earth. Up, downward dog. Enjoy. Juicy breath. Elbows rotate back. Lift right leg. Open it up and bend that heel towards your head. Notice your left leg has the knee rotated in. Can you open it so it's still pointing forward? Parallel left leg. Inhale, lengthen. Close those hips. Tuck it forward. Inhale. Back up. Exhale, thigh down. Inhale, tuck. Last one. Inhale, lengthen, exhale, take it down. Hands behind your back, rise up, opening that chest. Find a long lower back. You might have to bend the back leg, and that's okay. Drop your chest, hands come up. Hands down to your hips. 4 step together. Rise up, melt down. Inhale, flat back, and soften. Rise up. Come back to your mountain pose. Close your eyes, taking your thumbs to your heart. Feel your position. With your eyes closed, ask yourself to notice without judgment. Is your weight even left and right foot? Is your weight more in the balls of the feet or the heels? Are your knees locked or gently lifted upwards? Are your thighs rotating in or out? Are your hips tight or loose? Are your glutes squeezing or not squeezing? Are your abdominals softly engaged or not? Let everything go. Let your booty stick out, your belly stick out, let your thighs roll wherever. Let's rebuild. We're going to draw in the core. Belly lock softly in. Lengthen the tailbone towards earth. Let your spine rise up through the back of your neck and your head. And that rise forward shifts your heart 2 inches forward so that your weight shifts into the balls of your feet. And then softly pull your thighs in, together, and forward. Feel that energized stance. Let your eyes open up. Shifting onto your left leg. You're going to turn the right leg out. Bust up a tree. Go ahead and drop those hands down so your forearms are parallel because it's going to be stretching your wrist, which feels nice. Try bust up B, which is toes off the floor. Your heel is in your calf. Notice your standing leg knee is straight forward and so are your toes. If you're not sure, put the toe down. Look. Adjust. Standing leg straight forward. Bent leg is out. Drop those tailbones down and choose your tree for today. Remember, we never press the heel or any weight sideways on the knee, so it's a big jump between bus stop B and bus stop C, which is above the knee. If you're working towards D, where you're putting your foot up high with your hand, the trick for me when I first learned this is not to let go fast, but instead to stand up straight, holding on, and slowly slide my hand away. That really helped me. Finding your tree. See if you can open that knee a little wider. The bent one, not the straight one. It's that same action that we use when we're rotating the thigh out in Warrior One. Inhale, lifting the hands above your head. More belly lock to get your tailbone to drop down to the center of the earth. We're gonna open up those hands. Good job. Hand sneaks under your thigh. Unhook that leg wherever it is. Bus stop A is closer to your pelvis. The bus stops get more challenging as you slide out, but let's all go on the thigh, no further than on the thigh. This left hand back here, can we bring it 2 inches in front of your torso? It'll help you balance. And straighten that leg right where it is. Notice your standing foot. Is it tired? Is it trying to grab the mat? Because it's not going to help you. Soften that foot. Your hip is your balance. Take that foot down. Oh, look, it's a warrior one position. Turn it parallel. Shift your weight to your right leg. Find the left leg turned out, bus stop A. Looking down, let's check the standing leg. Knee and toe straight forward, lined up together. Your hips are swooshed over. Because your belly button, when we're on 2 legs, your belly button should be between your feet. When we're on 1 leg, we want the belly button and the pubis and the nose and the whole spine to shift those 2 inches over so it's over the center of the foot. Yeah? Lift that core, open that knee, find your tree. For today, it's not your tree forever, it's just today's tree. Where is today's edge? Where's today's challenge for you? Remember, it's not a competition, neither with other people nor yourself. It's a practice. It's about being present and accepting of where you are today. Learning to breathe in that place, even if we're not sure where that place is. Finding fluid stillness in uncertainty. When we're wobbling, when we're falling, how do we breathe through it? Grab a thigh, unhook. Take your arm a little bit forward to help you balance. Stretch that leg out. Good, you guys, that looks beautiful. Lovely. It's okay if you fall. It's okay. Take it down. Oh, look. Close it up. Open, left, standing. Close, close. Open, standing leg, close, both legs parallel. Open 1 leg, shift onto a standing leg, close it, parallel. Good. Open it, shift it, close it, standing. Big breath in. Reach those hips way back to your awkward chair. Curve your tailbone underneath. Curve it, curve it, curve it, curve that back. Feel a stretch back here. Like a cow position. And then inhale and lengthen. Settle down. Look at those knees. Knees and toes straight forward. If one knee is passing the other, you know that your hips are also twisted. So we look down at our knees to give ourselves feedback about whether our hips are square. Hips are together. Big breath in. Rotate your heart to the right. Good grief, you guys. I've forgotten all my lefts and my rights. Drop your chest down. Check those knees and toes again. Inhale, zip it up. Sit down a little bit more. Knees and toes still aligned. Knees are behind your toes, so don't lean it forward. Weight should be falling towards the hips in this pose. Come center. Drop it, forward fold. Drop your hips, roll back up. Exhale, sit back into that awkward chair. Even knees, even toes. Lifting through the core, lengthening that lower back so it feels flat. Reach your tailbone behind you. Heels are not falling off the floor in any way, shape, or form. Weight is in the heels. Hands to namaste. Inhale, lengthen that spine. Exhale, rotate to the other side. And twist. Drop it down further. Zip up your arm and find your breath. And come on forward and roll it up. Reaching forward this time, we are going to let our heels come up. So I'm going to shift my heart forward. We're only lowering one time. This may be too much for everyone's knees, so it's okay if you skip it. Letting your heels up, knees forward, dropping straight down like your torso is an elevator, in an elevator shaft. We're going to the floor, so if you need to stop early, get on down, that's fine. Finding your balance parallel, squeeze your thighs together or towards each other. If you have really skinny thighs, they might not touch. Most of us are going to feel our thighs touch because the flesh spreads as we lower. Reach those arms out, squeezing the thighs together as you lean your chest forward and your hips back. And ding, the floor. From the floor, we're going to take those parallel legs. We're going to open up your right knee and slide your left leg forward. And feel again that feeling, that knee opening, wanted to open those hips to the side, right? So I want you to work on squaring the hips. And for me, that feels like I'm pulling your right hip, your left hip back, yeah? To get square in the hips. This right leg is near the knee. And we're going to stretch forward. Here, the long leg is parallel, the hips are square, so there will be a right angle here. Yeah? Lift it up. It's okay if this long leg is bent, bringing your belly button to the thigh. I'm going to turn to the side so you can see me a little better. Yeah? Right leg is open, long leg can be bent. What I don't want to see is this. This would be pelvis tucked underneath, reaching, and most of the stretch happens in the back when we do this. Instead, I want you to bend that knee if you need to, so that your pelvis can get behind your shoulders and weight feels like you're falling forward. And that might be very bent, but if you're feeling it in the back of the thigh, then you are doing it correctly. Let's just breathe into the head to knee pose. That long straight leg, your left leg, you're thinking about reaching that left hip back behind you. Good, good, good. Added bonus fun. If you can grab your foot or your toes and pull them towards your face. Alternately, if you have a strap, a belt, anything like that, you can also do this with a strap. Remember to bring my strap in. Yeah, so you can wrap it around the ball of your foot and pull forward from there. And any sort of belt will work. Go ahead and roll yourself up. And we're going to switch legs. So now your right leg is long, your left leg is bent, and we're pulling the right hip back and squaring the left hip forward. Remember, bent leg is fine. I want you to tip your pelvis forward into the stretch. And you can use a strap if you like to help pull those toes and feet towards your head, or you can just reach them, like flex them. And you'll feel that by flexing those toes and the ankles towards your head, you're going to increase in the stretch from just your hamstrings into your calf and sole of your feet. So that's why we do that add-on when we can. Another crazy thing to feel for me is that using the strap helps me know whether I'm sickling the foot, and sometimes I feel more of a stretch when I am flattening out those toes, right? So that sometimes my pinky toe gets farther away from me in this position and pulling that pinky toe even with the big toe is an added twist. All right, coming back up. We're gonna go back to the first side, which was right leg forward, but this time we're gonna open it. Yeah? So open your hips, square to the middle. My heel is in the middle of my pelvis center line. And I'm gonna bend this long leg. I'm gonna point my knee back. Back. So bend your leg as much as you need to so that that thigh falls back. And then we're gonna reach the body forward. Yeah? You'll feel that your hips wanna splay open again here today. So we're keeping our hips and shoulders square in the center as we work towards a turned out long leg. Roll it up. Switch those legs. Yeah. Heel in front of the center of your body, squared off torso. Other leg is now open, knee pointed up and then out, so let it be bent as you lean forward. Yeah. Your body's probably going to try and sneak around to the more bent leg, but we want to root through both squared hips and let the long leg's inner thigh open up. Sometimes I nestle that elbow underneath the knee to really keep the long leg pointed up and rotate it out. Big deep breath. Gently draw it up and bring both of your legs together close to your chest as you lie back. Take a moment to rest with your knees bent and decide by the feel of your back whether you want to extend your legs in Savasana today or if you want to leave them. Slow down the breath. Here we are again, back with your breath. Noticing where your joints lie without judgment. Noticing how your muscle tissue feels, just being present and finding your breath. Luxuriating in each inhale, airing out those last cells that need some more oxygen. Comforting yourself with that soft, fluid rise and fall. Feeling ready to come back. Come on back.